Lesson here at LearnPianoLive.com. This is a beginner's lesson, so the assumption is you know nothing about piano. You don't know the letters, you don't know how to read music, you don't know any chords. If that's you, you're in the right place. We're starting at the very basics. So really the keys to this lesson is to ask a whole lot of questions. This is you and me, so you got to ask whatever questions you have so that I, as your teacher, can help you out and know what you need. Now, if you are an absolute beginner, you might want to check out the Absolute Beginners Lesson Pack in the video store, because that'll kind of walk you through some of the very basics that most beginning piano students have. It's free. Just go check it out in the video store. And there's a couple other things too that I want to talk to you about before this countdown clock hits 0. All right, first and most important, ask a lot of questions. The way that you're going to do that is there's a couple different ways. You can jump in the chat room and talk with the other students who are logged in at the same time. I'll be watching the chat room too. You ask your questions there, or if it's a question that's just for me, a question about the lesson, especially if you know it's one that's going to fit best at the question and answer time at the end, then you can just put your name and your question in the box below this video, click submit, and then I will get that. Now, if you're already in the archives, if you're watching this not live, but you're watching this in the archives, then make sure at the end of the lesson you click on the survey button. You don't have to fill out the entire survey. If you want to, I mean, I'd love your feedback, but really the best part of that is that you can put your question in there, and then when you click submit, then I will get all of your questions. I'll make sure that you get them answered, whether you're in the archives or you're live. Right next to this video, there should be a PDF button and an MP3 button. Now, you don't really need those till after the lesson because I'm going to be showing you on screen the PDF and showing you how to use it. And I'll play the MP3 during the lesson too, so you know at the end of the lesson how you're going to use that. Some people, though, like to print out the PDF ahead of time, so as I'm making notes on my version, they can make the same notes on their version, but it works either way. All right, this is perhaps the most important part. You need to leave the lesson when you feel like you're sufficiently challenged. So, I'm teaching these lessons, 12 to 15 lessons a month. Normally, in traditional lessons, you're getting like a lesson every other week or so. So this is just way too much for you to take in. So, the goal is for you to get some little nugget of something that you can really practice on and really work on. Once you feel like you have that, then you really don't need anything else from me. Go practice. That's where this stuff is really going to happen. You're not going to get through this lesson and be able to play something really well. You're going to get through this lesson and have the information that you need to practice more effectively. That's really the goal here. So don't feel bad about taking off early. If you feel like halfway through the lesson you got as much as you can take in at that time, then go practice that thing, and then come back whenever you've got that thing down, or you're bored with it, or you just want to check out the next topic. Don't forget also that you've got the archives too. So if you want to see one little thing, just repeat it over and over and over. Just give me, hopefully within 24 hours after the lesson, this thing will be up in the archives, so you can just go back and watch it over and over and over and over and just get that little segment down. All right, so honestly, I'm almost afraid to tell you this, but today, out of the 8 sectors of musicianship, the one that we're focusing on is improvisation. So this is, making stuff up, the much beloved, much feared improv sector. So anyway, this is, hopefully you're going to leave with a little better idea of how you can make up great sounding stuff and not have to necessarily have sheet music in front of you in order to be able to play cool sounding stuff and impress your friends and to have fun on the piano. So it's improv. Here we go. right, welcome to the improv lesson. This one is it's going to be interesting. We're going to start out in the key of F. If you've never played any of this stuff before, if this is your very first lesson, that's fine. You don't have to play any of those notes that I just played, but I think before you know it, with just a little bit of bravery and no skill, you'll be able to jump in and figure out a lot of this stuff. Let's go ahead and check out the PDF. Hopefully you have that open already. And this right here, in case you can understand some of the stuff here, we're going to start on an F chord. We play that for 1 bar, and then we've got a G minor for a bar, an A minor for a bar, then we're back to G minor for a bar. And if that doesn't make any sense at all, that's perfectly fine. What you do need to know is point 1 here is just start noodling. The thing you need to know about this or any other song that you're going to make up melodies for is what key is it in. Now, this does mean that when you find out what the key is, you'll need to be able to play in that key. Those of you who are in Clapple Academy, you've already got a great head start on this, but it does mean that, for example, this one is in the key of F. So that means that there's a certain set of 7 correct notes, that the rest of them are not going to sound good, and those 7 notes are going to sound great. All the notes that I played were one of the 7 notes in the key of F, because your track is in the key of F, which is why right here, all of these guys are kind of highlighted for you. But this is a list of all of the keys. Like I said, 7 notes. The 7 notes for the key of F are F. That's the first one. So in order to find an F, you're going to start with any group of 3 black notes. Any group of 3. Doesn't matter if you pick that one or that one. Just don't pick a group of 2 and you'll be fine. Any group of 3 black notes. The note just to the left of the group of 3 black notes is going to be an F every single time. You're going to play that note. You're also going to play the note right next to that, which is that one right there. That's a G. And that is the, as you can see, it's in the column for the second note in the key. So that's a G. The next note is going to be an A, because that's the 3rd note right there. The 4th note is a B, but it has a little symbol on it. If you look very closely, you'll notice that symbol right there. That's a flat sign. So that means don't actually play the B. You're going to play the note just below the B. It's called a B flat, and that's why that symbol right there is a flat sign. So that's a B flat. And then the next key, the next note in the key of F is going to be a C. Now, if this seems like this is going kind of fast for you, again, Clapple Academy people have a huge head start on the rest of you because they're already playing in the key of F and stuff like that. But again, just try to keep track of these notes. You're going to start on F, and then it's going to be all white notes, basically, because the D and the E are also going to be white notes up here, the D and the E. So it's all white notes except for that one that we talked about. You're not going to play any Bs. You're going to play all B flats. And those are the correct notes to play for this track, because this track is in the key of F. And any song that you're playing, you should be able to ask the person who's playing the song, what key is this in? Or you should be able to ask Google, if you're playing along with the radio, what key is Katy Perry's Cred. I don't know any of the names of her songs, but Cred might be the name of one of her songs. No, they don't all sound like Cred. Katy Perry's a very talented person. I don't know why you would say that. You should be able to find out what key the song is in. That was the point I was going to make. And then this one is in the key of F. These are the notes for the key of F. If you find out that it's in the key of, for example, B flat, then you could go here to the key of B flat. And Katy Perry's song Crud is going to be in the key of B flat, and you'd play a B flat, and then a C, and then a D, and then an E, and you just follow those 7 notes. And they should take you all the way back, if you end it correctly, to the very first note, and it just all starts back over again. So that would be just an example, the key of B flat. You don't need any of that for today's lesson. You just need the key of F, the one that is highlighted there. I just provided all of the keys for you in case you start improvising with other people's music and you want to play along with them. So key of F, once again, it's going to start on F. It's going to be all white notes, with the exception of this guy right here. Is not going to be a white note. It's going to be a B flat, and those are all the right notes. They should sound good at pretty much any time during this track, because the track is in the key of F for the whole entire thing. It's a long track too. I'm trying to see here how long. Looks like we've got almost 2.5 minutes of music here, which is a long time for those same chords to repeat. So anyway, we're back here, and we've got the key of F. So we're going to start here on F. They all sound very decent. whole thing just starts back over again on that F. So you take that exact same set of notes and you apply it up here, and now we've got the key of F. Again, watch out for that B flat. And those are all the right notes. And now you can go through the whole entire piano playing the key of F. Pretty good. Now, there are some that are going to sound better than others. So I've listed this chart down here at the bottom is the exact same set of notes, but I've color coded for you the notes that are going to sound the best in each of those keys. So for the key of F, for all the keys, the darker the note, the better it's going to sound. The lighter the note, the worse it's going to sound, or the less frequently it's going to sound great. So you can make any of these notes sound great if you play them at the appropriate time, or if you just listen for them. But this one right here is going to be the darkest one. That is the F, the 1 of the key. The number 1 in each of the keys is going to sound the best. The next darkest one is going to be the 5. So in this case, the C is going to be the second best sounding note in the key of F, most frequently good sounding note. So if we play this track and we just play Fs and Cs, it's going to sound perhaps odd because there's only 2 notes, but it's going to sound nice and secure pretty much the whole time through. So just the 1 and the 5 of any key are going to be the most frequently good sounding notes. Now the next one is significantly lighter, but it's also usually going to be pretty good, and that's the 3 of any key, in this case the A. Let me go back to the lettered notes here. So we like the F, we like the C because that's the 1 and the 5 of the key. The next one is going to be the 3 in there. That A is going to sound good almost all the time. So as you're running through your scale and stuff and playing all the notes, make sure that when you stop on a 1 or a 5 or a 3. When you take your little pauses, those are going to be the best, the easiest places to pause because it's going to sound the best. So again, the 1, the 3, the 5 so far. In the order of 1, pretty much it's going to sound good the whole entire time. The 5, almost all the time. So that's the 1, the 3, and the 5. I threw another 5 down here. There's another 3 right there. There's another 1. And if you're thinking, I can't play that stuff yet, hang on. That's fine. That stuff actually sounds terrible. The less you move, in most cases, the better. So just stick in here. I'm just trying to show you that all the possibilities of 1s and 3s and 5s, they all pretty much sound good. So after that, the next best sounding note, or most frequently good sounding note. I want to make the distinction because there are some cases in which this note right here is going to be the best sounding note. In fact, when I first started out, we first started the lesson, I was playing my little improv thing. I had a lot of 4s in there, which is not a frequently good sounding note, but at the right time, it's the best sounding notes. So I don't want you to think that the darker colored notes are the best sounding notes, but they're the safest notes. pretty much any time you can land on one of those, and it's going to sound great. The others, you kind of got to work in more. You got to have a little more experience to work these other notes in if you're going to land on them and hang on to them and play for a long time and have them sound great. So the next most good sounding note is not the 4, the 4 and the 7 actually. Oops. All right. I don't know what's going on there. The 4 and the 7 are least frequent, but the 6 and the 2, in this case the G and the D, are going to make up something called the pentatonic scale. The 5 notes out of the scale, pretty much just taking out the 4 and the 7, and that pretty much you can play all the way through from here until forever on almost any song and get away with sounding really cool, just going stepwise. I'm trying to make this as random as possible so you don't think that I'm like playing the cool licks or whatever. I'm just playing the notes out of the pentatonic scale, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 5, and the 6. So then that would be something like... all just pentatonic scale stuff right there. Just taking out the 4 and the 7 and playing the rest of the notes. And then the 4 and the 7, of course, like I said, can be the best sounding notes in there. But the biggest thing is going to be just make sure that you sing along with everything that you're playing. So whatever it is that you're playing, as you're playing the note, you want to actually literally sing along with the notes. And in most cases, I have my microphone muted so that you can't hear me sing along, because most people don't want to hear that, especially with the condition of my voice today. But just briefly here, I'll show you what this would sound like if I was going to solo along with it and you like had me mic'd up, like I'm mic'd up right now during like a regular solo. So it would be something like this. Now, the key to this is start small. You're not going to start out like this, but whatever the note is. But you don't have to be a good singer either, or even hit the note. You just have to sound to yourself like you're hitting the note. So this is not for any audience at all. This is just for yourself to make the connection between your ear and your fingers as to what each note is going to sound like before you play it. That's the goal in the future, is do this enough and you'll know ahead of time what it's going to sound like when you play that next note. So you're going to start out small and do something like this. This is what you start out with. Da, and then play with just those 2 notes. Now that you know what those sound like, ba, ba, ba. And if you're on a keyboard, turn the volume all the way off and play those 2 notes back and sing them. So you are now the speakers. Ba, da, ba. Now kill the volume. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba, dum, ba, da, bum, ba, da, bum, ba, da, ba, 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 ba. Now you can see and hear what those notes sound like without including your piano. If you have a regular piano, it's going to be a little bit harder to do because obviously you've got sound coming out. It's hard to mute that sound. But as much as possible, you want to make it so that those notes sound in your head as much as they sound coming out of your piano. So, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, ba-da. What's that one going to sound like? Turn the volume back up. Da, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba. Sung it wrong. Now I got to go back and figure out, all right, what was this one right here? Ba. Okay, what was that other thing that I sung? Ba. Where's that note? Ba, ba. It was that note right there. So now I have both sung what I played. So when I went to play the note, I ended up playing that note. So I went back, I sung that note. And then I also went back and taught my finger what my voice was doing. I was wanting to hear, my ear was hearing, ba, but I ended up playing that one. So what was that thing that my ear was hearing, and how do I get to that note? Ba, ba, ba. It was that one right there. That's what I was hearing before. So you want to both sing what you play. So when you mess up, play that note again, try singing that, and then also go back, and if you can remember what the note was that you originally sung, then go back and figure out what that note was. So you're singing what you're playing, and you're playing what you're singing, both, if that makes any sense. And nobody wants to do that. Everybody thinks that's ridiculous, and that's maybe a skippable step, but it's definitely the most important step. Definitely the most important step. Definitely the most important step in improvising well is singing what you're playing. So we got the key, we got our pentatonic scale, and now we're singing what we're playing. Obviously, you don't have to actually be able to sing all the notes that you're playing, but you do have to have that internalized. You do have to try to sing it, and as long as internally you know what it was going to sound like ahead of time, then that's fine. You can turn off the volume to your piano. I won't subject you to any more of that, but yeah, I think you get the idea. Oh, and you couldn't see any of the notes I was playing anyway, but I think you get the idea. So what you're playing is already ahead of time. You know what that's going to sound like, and you're not going to accidentally play any wrong notes because you are only playing notes that your ear heard, and your ear is almost 100% of the time correct and hears awesome, cool things. Let's get to our feature of the day, and then we'll do your questions. So the feature of the day is a voicing of the day. So if you're going to play those 1, 3, and 5 all together, some of you already know that is called the 1 chord. And if you're going to play all those together at the end of the song, you want to make sure that you have the 1 of this scale, or the 1 of the chord, at the top of your chord. So this right here is called first inversion. And so that is where you're playing just every other note starting on the 1. And then the 1 of the chord is the highest note. So playing that 1 right there. So if I zoom in here a little bit, there we go. If I zoom in, then you see I'm playing the 1, the 3, the 5. I'll play it down here. 1, 3, 5. We're putting that 1, that F, on top. So that right there is called first inversion because the root, the 1 of the chord, is on the top. That's first inversion. Technically, it's because the 3 is on the bottom, but don't tell anyone because people who are not in Clap Academy don't care about that. But make sure that 1 is on the top of your chord when you end the song. That's going to make that sound the best. It's time for questions and hopefully some good answers. Question number 1, who is good to listen to play like this? This particular track would be, I'd say it's in the smooth jazz genre. So anyone smooth jazz-ish, anyone you'd hear on a smooth jazz channel, or just look up top Billboard 100 top smooth jazz songs. But in general, anybody that you like to listen to is going to influence your playing. So whoever it is that you wish that you could play like, listen to them. What song is this? This is not a song. This is just a play-along track, a general. Again, it's the 4 chords that I listed on your sheet right there. The F, the G minor, the A minor, and the G minor. It's just that progression over and over. I don't think it's an actual song, although there are probably 5 trillion songs that use those 3 chords over and over. Are there other good times to use the first inversion? Good question. Yeah, sure. Any time is a good time. I guess my point should have been that at the end of the song, you want to make sure that the 1 of the scale, or the 1 of the chord, is at the top. Other than that, yeah. So it's, instead of use the first inversion, it's more don't use any other inversion at the end of the song. But yeah, you could use it anywhere. It's going to sound great. It's going to sound like the 1 is at the top of your chord. But yeah. Yes, absolutely. All throughout the song, just make sure that's also your ending point. In the same way that you can already tell as you're playing through this thing, you're going to have an F all over through your improvisation. All kinds of Fs, right? So like, when is a good time to use an F? All the time is a good time to use an F, but at the end of the song, make sure the F is on the top. So maybe that helps clarify that point. I didn't mean to say that the first inversion was special in some way, just that the others are less special at the end of the song. Perhaps a last question. Who is the god-awful pianist you play before the lessons? Apparently not a big fan of, I think it's some old school Herbie Hancock stuff. So yeah, we'll switch that out and get a couple different artists in there. It should be different every week, but today it was Herbie Hancock, and not the favorite of user 672748. So sorry about that. Yeah, Herbie Hancock. There you go. Not your favorite stuff. Anyway, you know I love you. Until next time, good luck. Have fun.